What is going on? Checking out an all new The RCWR Show, covering the very latest in wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. Your host right here, Lee Sanders. You are checking out episode number 601, coming at you for Tuesday, June the 26th, 2018. Just saw SmackDown go off the air. We'll get into that. Raw, you know how we do it over here on the RCWR Show. I want to thank those of you that's checking us out right now, be it live, on demand, or on the downloads, however you're going to be checking this out, but especially those of you that's going to be checking this out live. A lot of stuff we need to dive into on this week's episode. I'm telling you, literally one day after we went off the air, with last week's show, that's pretty much when all of the stuff had went down. Whether you want to talk about Vinnie Paul, all of which we're going to dive into, but take your pick. Vinnie Paul, Vader, more details on Big Cass's WWE release. I mean, everything pretty much went down after we wrapped up the show last week. So a lot of heavy stuff we're going to be getting into on tonight's show, streaming at you live on the usual platform. So take your pick. If you're new, welcome. Do subscribe so you never miss out on all the great content we put out there for you guys on a week-to-week basis. Taking it easy this week, just going to be streaming on YouTube, Spreaker, the RCWR Show app that's available for free in the Google Play Store. Just use the keywords, the RCWR Show. And we're also streaming over on the Mixlr.com site. So trying these new avenues out for a couple of weeks, in particular the Mixlr one. Trying that out for a couple of weeks, and we'll see how it goes. We got a new sponsor, but it looks like the way I'm going to have to go about promoting them, it's going to have to be after the show is wrapped up, because I wanted to push these guys out in the open. I told them when they can tune in live and everything, but it looks like they gave me an MP3 that they want me to play, and they gave me no script. So, hey, that kind of makes my job a little bit easier, quite honestly, when I get nights like this. So I hope everything's been going pretty good for you guys since last we were on the air. You've been taking it easy. Most importantly, y'all have been gearing up for the 4th of July holiday break that's going to be coming up. I'm definitely excited for it. I'm pumped. I can't wait. I actually did a little bit of 4th of July grocery shopping the other day. Not too much. I just did a little something. I've been a bachelor these past several days because my girl and her mom, they decided they wanted to go on down deep south. I mean, it's like you got to drive some hours deep out in Virginia. And one of the main reasons why my girl went deep down south is because she scored a really sweet deal on a wedding dress. And I'm like, how much? And she told me the price. I'm going, get out of here. And she's going, yeah. Can you believe it? I said, nah. And have you actually seen the pictures for this dress? She's like, yes, I've seen the pictures. It looks beautifully stunning. I can't wait to show it to you. I'm like, well, I can't wait to see it. So her and her mom, they went down there. They both pretty much had some vacation time anyway. And so they decided to go down there. So I have been a bachelor these past several days, and I must admit it's felt rather good, just doing what I please, when I want to, and leaving dishes all over the place. Well, not like on the floor or anything like that, but you know how us guys get, ladies, when we know you all are away. I'm just gonna leave the dishes in the sink. I'll get to them in a couple of days or whatever, And don't even, if you're a guy, don't even come at me. Actually, Lee, I do the dishes ASAP as soon as I get done eating. Don't give me that line of BS. Come on, don't give me that. But no, it's been kind of cool being a bachelor these past couple of days. But I've, as the days have progressed, I have gotten a little bit more lonelier. So I actually am looking forward to seeing my girl and her mom when they get back over here safely. And well, it's not totally bad because I have my best buddy. I've got my little pick-a-me's Maggie, so she's been keeping me company for the most part. But you start to realize those little things as far as interactions go. late at night, wrapping your arm around somebody and, snuggling up, all that, having somebody to converse with. So it's been a little bit challenging the past couple of days, but I can't wait for them to come on back. But yeah, I did a little bit of 4th of July grocery shopping the other day. Nothing really too much. I honestly wanted to get the big bulk of the stuff once the family got back, and then we can kind of strategize that way. But I can't wait to see how this wedding dress looks. And now I know it's bad luck to see the wedding dress the day of the wedding, but is it bad luck to see the wedding dress beforehand? That's what I'm more curious about. Those of you married couples out there, maybe y'all can clue me in on that. I know it's bad luck to see the wedding dress the day of the wedding, but is it okay to see the wedding dress like months before, because she wants to show it to me? So if there's some weird stigma out there, it's bad luck to just look at the wedding dress period before you get married, then I honestly do not want to look at the damn wedding dress, quite honestly. But the way it's looking right now, for those of you that maybe have missed it, yeah, we're going to be tying the knot spring of 2019. Looks like we're going to be going out of state for this one. Looks like we're going to be going down to Tennessee. Seeing the reviews, seeing the pictures for this place that's out in Tennessee, and my God, take my breath away. It is very beautiful, very, very luxurious, very organic like, and you just can't beat the price. The price is very affordable, very affordable. But we just got to figure out who all is going to be going there, things of that nature. So I can't wait. I'm gonna have to wait, but I can't wait. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm pumped, man. Very pumped, very excited. So a lot of stuff went down, and I tell you, probably the biggest thing that really surprised the hell out of me, and I'm sure it probably had surprised the hell out of you, is the fact that we had lost. If you follow rock, all things metal, we had lost a good one. Man, totally taken off guard, totally by freaking surprise. We got rocked big time in the community. We lost Vinnie Paul, drummer for HellYeah, Damage Plan, Pantera, passed away at the age of 54. Only 54. Apparently, according to a lot of media outlets, the man passed away in his sleep. Well, if you're going to go out, that's a hell of a way to go out, I guess. But 54 is so young. And I know nowadays when you hear folks like me say, 54 or only 63, a lot of folks kind of go, well, that's old. What the hell are you guys talking about? What the hell? That's actually pretty young, because when you factor in today's health and nutrition information that's out there, let's be honest, me being a product child of the 80s and going through the transitions all the way up to now and seeing, hey, this is bad for you. This food right here, this has X amount of carbs. This has X amount of calories, fat intake, right? You look into all of that. Oh, well, you should do this more and do less of this. Be active physically by doing this, and don't do too much on this activity because that's too much strain on the heart. We're learning so much by the day as far as health and nutrition, good medicine goes, that we're able to go a lot longer past the age of 50, 55. If we do everything right now, the average, give or take, it's rounding off at about 70, maybe 75. So to hear that somebody goes out at the age of 54, that's pretty damn young. I think anybody, even if you're in your 20s, you would have to admit that's still pretty damn young. Put it to you in this context. Most people have probably a teenager going into maybe their final year in high school, or they just graduated high school by the time that parent hits 50. So that's actually pretty damn right. Okay. Now, fast forward a little bit and you hear, oh, well, people going out at 63, 64. What the hell? Well, that's now looked upon as the new 40, believe it or not. And I tell you, everybody that's been a longtime listener of the show knows how much of a big fan I am of Robert Plant. I love me some Robert Plant. And I'm telling you, Robert Plant, he is now, I believe, 64 going on. Actually, you know what? I might have made him much younger. He actually might be more closer to 67 now that I think about it. And let me actually look up his age real quick. And, but no, I'm bringing him up because as he's gotten older, his voice has just gotten better and better. He's 69 years of age. So, but you hear him and he sounds like a guy right now. You listen to Robert Plant, age 69, and now he is just going out there ripping it up in the studios or tearing it up on stage, live performances, right? And the guy sounds as though he is maybe in his mid late 40s, and just the way he's been able to take care of himself. I would have to say that when Robert Plant made his resurgence publicly, I mean, he was always doing music. There was a little bit of a mini break, but he was always doing music no matter what, even though there was no studio albums, new efforts of new material being put out there. He was always out there on the music scene, but he really didn't officially come back to the dance until 2002's Dreamland, which was basically a cover album of some really great folk blues songs. And pretty much right at that period, all the way up to now, he really hasn't aged like that. He really, really hasn't. So here's a guy that's whatever he's doing, and I know he loves to get his fair share of drinking and all that, but here's a guy that is doing it right. It's a good example of what I'm talking about as far as if you take care of yourself and everything, by the time you get to 60, 60 is kind of like the new 40. Huge, huge freaking fan of Pantera. My God, I was so heartbroken when Pantera just would not work out. I remember vividly where I was when Dimebag Darrell had passed away. I remember it vividly. I remember my friends giving me the phone call saying, "Damn, dog, did you hear what happened with Dimebag?" I'm going, "Nah, what the hell?" And I have friends that were calling me and were crying because Dimebag Darrell had passed away. And that had began the discussion right then and there as far as, okay, well, is Pantera maybe going to get back together and try to pay tribute to their lost brother? Can we maybe see some type of a reconcile between Phil Anselmo and Vinnie Paul? And I tell you what, man, and let me tell you, Vinnie Paul, he went on record. He said, you know what? I think some of the things that Phil had said may have led to the death of my brother. And for that, and just the way he's been handling us, handling this whole situation, if ever there was going to be an opportunity to get Pantera back together, that's over and done with. Like the last saving grace that possibly could have had a Pantera reunion come to fruition was Dimebag Darrell. Dimebag Darrell was always trying to be the peacemaker. He was always trying to mend fences and everything. And a lot of people close to Dimebag that knew him really felt as though if Dimebag did not pass away, the band would have eventually gotten back together. And I would highly encourage people that want to kind of get up to speed a little bit with regards to Pantera, what's been going on with Phil Anselmo, Vinnie Paul. I would go say, see if you can find it online. Good luck if you can. You might be able to, but look up VH1's Behind the Music. There was an episode that they did on Pantera, and I'm telling you, it was, you know, you learn a couple of new things, but pretty much all of us hardcore Pantera fans, it's pretty much, yeah, we know all this, but I tell you, it's just it's sad. It's sad. There was always that part of me that held out hope that despite Dimebag passing that Vinnie and Phil would be able to patch things up. And I know Phil did his whole solo effort. He's done a few things here and there with different bands and all that, but we remember how he had made headlines a couple of years ago. He was at a concert. Anybody remember that? And he said white power. Anybody remember that? Did the whole Nazi hand gesture and all that. That pissed the hell out of Vinnie Paul. I don't know if there was some part of Vinnie Paul that was maybe kind of warming up or what, but that was just additional icing on the cake for the man that just made him say, I'm glad I don't have anything to do with you, brother, because you are just one piece of shit, right? But I think everybody remembers that. I did review that album, by the way. I believe it's actually on the YouTube channel. You can find it under the album reviews category for those of you that might be a little bit curious. I want to say I gave that album a pass, whereas pass as in it was good. It was actually worth checking out. Whereas I think the reactions to the album, I believe the comments that were coming in, it was a little bit mixed. As far as I'm concerned, yeah, it was mixed three ways. You had some people that were basically going, man, this dude ain't nothing without Pantera. And then you had some that said, oh, this is actually a pretty damn good effort, pretty strong effort, best since his Pantera days. And then you just had people that just totally crapped on it. They said the old man was losing his touch, wasn't quite classic Philosamo, whatever. But there was a part of me that, despite Dimebag passing, that felt that surely Vinnie and Phil could get back together and they can make some really good music. And, you know, it didn't happen. And I think when you go back and you look at the fact that Vinnie went on to go do Damage Plan, and I remember I got hipped onto Damage Plan late because I think I got hip to them months after their debut album was released. And the only reason why I got hip to them was because I remember I was talking to a buddy of mine that worked at a record store, and we were talking all things music and all that. And he said to me, hey man, did you check out the new Damage Plan album? I go, nah, who's in that? And he told me, and he knew how much of an Alice in Chains fan I was or am. And he goes, hey, Jerry Cantrell actually does a little bit of guitar work on this album. I'm like, on which tracks? He's like, that I'm not sure about, but you should know him when you hear him. But he's actually on here. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I actually checked out. I remember that day I bought the Damage Plan album, and I was like, oh my God, this is this is fucking brilliant. And I was waiting patiently for another Damage Plan album. And of course, that never happened because Dimebag. But when we saw Vinnie go from Damage Plan and then he went to HellYeah, was putting out all of those albums under HellYeah. He also had the Rebel Meets Rebel joint. You're going, you know, it doesn't really look like it. But some of us, including myself, were still holding out that last little bit of thing called hope. But now, without a shadow of doubt, with Vinnie passing away, it's like, yeah, you can pretty much Pantera, stick a fork in it. That just is not happening, you know. And it's sad. It's really sad that when we lose people so young like this. Now, some could make the argument, well, Lee, no disrespect, but look at Vinnie Paul. Vinnie Paul, for many, many years, along with his Pantera brothers, they were getting down with the alcohol and God knows what else, but for sure on the alcohol. And one could also make the statement that Vinnie Paul was pretty hard on the liquor, maybe right on up until he passed, or maybe within recent years he started to reduce a little bit. But when you live that hard lifestyle, all right, when you live that hard lifestyle, that's the thing with all the music that's out today, with today's musicians that's out and about, it's not as heavy and crazy like what you would hear about from the Led Zeppelins, the AC/DCs, the Guns N' Roses, Bon Jovis, Metallicas, and all that. It's not like that now with today's generation of musicians that's out there. They are very focused career wise. Okay, which venue am I going to? Okay, is my money right? I mean, they are very, and that's good. But they still know how to have a little bit of fun. They just, some of them, majority of them, they are just going out there and they're very serious. Now you still have some that kind of party like the guys I just mentioned, but it's very, very low, right? So they've also seen from these bands that probably they grew up on, seen firsthand, wow, look at how this is tearing these guys up. Okay, I'm definitely not going to go down that path. So, I mean, you can make the argument that in the case of Vinnie Paul, hey, look, the guy not really paying attention to his weight, eating what he wants, drinking what he wants, when he wants, all that stuff. Yeah, eventually that's going to kind of catch up with you. And so we'll see what happens. I know they're probably doing a toxicology report right now, doing an autopsy. We're probably not going to know for several weeks what was the cause of death. Maybe it was cardiac arrest. You never know, but it sucks. It sucks either way. But man, I tell you, just the outpouring support that came in with regards to Vinnie's passing, it was a great thing to see collectively how everybody in the music industry came together, from the hard rock, metal, soft rock community, just everybody that, you know, just came together, even those that maybe were not familiar with the music, how they all just came together and was just like, hey, in your time of mourning, we're with you in spirits and all that. And Phil Anselmo did not put anything out there as far as a statement yet, nothing. Only thing he did, I think he took to maybe Instagram, definitely to social media. He put up a picture and it was basically a candle burning and a very dark background. Looked like something basically you could find in a Bing or Google search. That pretty much was it. I would imagine he is freaking mourning big time right now. He's probably feeling like shit. And, you know, I would like to believe, I don't care how much you're into the drugs, the alcohol, and all that, you have eyes, you have ears. I would like to believe that without a shadow of doubt, you're aware of all of the people that have passed within the past 15 years, as far as musicians go. And I would like to believe that somewhere, Phil is a very intelligent man. Let's make no mistake about that. If you've seen this guy in enough interviews, you've seen the crazy, wacky side of him, but you've also seen that side of him that's very philosophical, that's very articulate. So he is a very smart man. I would like to believe that maybe deep down there was a part of him that was saying, you know what, even if we don't get Pantera back together, I'm totally fine with that. At this point, I just want to mend fences. I want water to be under the bridge. And seeing all these people that have passed away in recent years, yeah, fuels the desire more than ever to want to squash this already. I would love to believe that there was some part of him that maybe wanted to squash things. But I tell you what, man, I'm curious if he's going to be allowed to go to the funeral. I'm very curious about that, because remember, when Dimebag Darrell passed away, Dimebag's wife, or sorry, longtime girlfriend, I should say, it's either wife or girlfriend, I can't remember the two, significant other. That's how we'll take care of that. His significant other and other people, they did not want Phil at the funeral. They denied him to come to the funeral. And I remember during the VH1 Behind the Music special, I remember he kept talking about how he wanted to come to the funeral. But if I remember it right, they actually tried to get in contact with him to tell him, hey, this is what had happened. Hey, we're going to be doing the funeral. And they couldn't get a hold of him. He would not return their calls. None of that. I don't know if the guy was mourning or what, but they eventually decided, well, man, if he's going to be wife, Clubber Lang is saying it was Dimebag's wife. Thank you, Clubber. I remember it got to that point where they couldn't reach Phil, and they just said, you know what? Fuck it. We're just going to do the funeral. And we try to reach out to him, and he wants to act like a dick. Fuck him. He's not invited to the funeral. So I'm curious if lightning is going to strike again and they're going to deny him to Vinnie Paul's funeral. I hope not. I really hope that if there's one good thing that can come from out of this, that at least with the family, the surviving family, Phil is able to make some type of peace with them, and they can go from there. Also, if you are a Pantera fan, one last thing that I'll say, and then we'll go on into another big passing that came about this week, which is with both brothers now gone, I can't help but wonder who exactly is now in control of the who is now in control of the musical catalog. If there's going to be some type of a greatest hits compilation, things of that nature, who's now responsible for that? Is it Dimebag and Vinnie Paul's surviving family members? Do they have the majority control? Is it the record label? Like, who exactly? How is this going to work out exactly? Does Phil get control by default? How does that all work out? One can make the argument, well, wait a minute, Lee. Phil was not the original singer. Phil didn't come in until like two singers later, if I remember it right. He was either the second singer or the third singer. So you can't help but wonder how that's going to play out. How much say, how much control is he going to have? I mean, he's going to get royalties either way if they're going to be doing a compilation and his vocals are going to be part of that. So it's a very delicate situation that's coming about right now. So, but when we get more news on how he had passed away, we'll definitely share that with you. So, like I said earlier, we had major news that went about since last we were on the air. We talked about one major passing. Now we got to go flip it from the pro wrestling standpoint. This actually had happened a day after we were off the air, or 2 days after our last show and we went off the air. Leon White, the man they call Vader, passed away. We were prepared for this. We remember 2 years ago, Vader took to social media and he had said, hey, I just saw my doctors, and because all of the wear and tear that I had did on my body, the style, the aggressive style, the physical style in nature of which I went at it, not just, in professional sports, but in the ring, I'm being told that I only have 2 years to live. I mean, this guy was having serious heart problems. And the doctors pretty much told him, your best bet, if you're lucky, 2 years tops, but no more. And Vader looked at that and he said, you know what? I can defy those odds. You're going to give me that? Psh, whatever. I'm going to beat that. Bump that. And I got a fun story. Yeah, it's somewhat fun. I've got a fun story to tell you guys with regards to Leon White, aka Vader. I want to say, if it wasn't earlier this year, because so much time goes past that after a while, you forget just exactly, wow, that was literally, I had a coworker the other day say to me, hey, Lee, you remember this? You remember when you ripped me this CD? I go, yeah, I remember. Hey, there's a date on there. What does that say? 2014. I was like, wow, that was 4 years ago? It felt like I only ripped that for you a year and a half ago. No, it's 4 years ago. I'm going, wow, that's crazy. But it feels like maybe it was earlier this year or maybe last year. Something had came about where Diamond Dallas Page had told Vader, hey, look, if you're going to do my DDP yoga program, you got to stop doing wrestling appearances. If you want to do autograph signings, things of that nature, that's okay. You're more than welcome to do that. But as far as physically getting in the ring, doing those bumps and all that, no, you can't do that. I'm trying to heal your body. That was basically Diamond Dallas Page's message to Vader. I'm trying to heal your body. I'm trying to physically get you back to good. I'm trying to help you shed some of this weight off. And, you're not going to be able to do all of these things and really, really utilize my teachings unless you fully 100% go all in with me. And Vader goes, no, I can't, because this is how I pay my bills. I've got medical expenses. I've got all these other expenses. I got to try to keep my lights on and all that. This is how I'm making my money, man. You take this away from me, what the hell? If this is how you're going to be rolling, I'm sorry. I'm not going to be able to really be a full-fledged member and participate in your program. And so Vader rolled out. And I remember there were some months later where Vader was very bitter about the situation. He was. Now, I'm not putting words in his mouth. You can easily just go search Bing, Google search. You can use the time warp, and Vader had put some statements out there. Now, I'm not saying he called DDP a bag of what, but he was a bit ticked off. He was disgruntled at the fact that DDP, as far as he kind of spun the story, was, hey, I had to cough up all this just to, and I remember I was on this very show, and I'm pretty sure it was almost a year ago, because I remember Epic Sports had ran the audio clip. So you can actually find it on the Epic Sports channel on YouTube. And I remember saying about what Vader, his reactions, I remember basically counterpoint to what Vader was saying. And I basically said, Vader, you can't blame other people for the problems which you're having right now. I get that this is how you're making your income. I get that, brother, but you're going about it the wrong way. Diamond Dallas Page is not the person that's at fault. And I remember one of the listeners had came at me in the community chat and basically said, well, look, why don't you help Vader start up a GoFundMe campaign then? And I talked about it with the missus. I said, you know what? This sounds like a pretty damn good idea. Do I really want to? And so I ran it by her, and she was like, you should get in contact with Vader, and you should let him know about these crowdfunding campaigns. Obviously, he doesn't know anything about these crowdfunding campaigns. You should get with him and see if maybe you can manage his crowdfunding page, get it out there, put some publicity on it and everything, and go from there. So I remember I had got in contact with Vader. True story. I can show you the email exchanges and everything. Now, I should know Vader was a person I had tried to get on the show a couple of times. And for whatever respected reason, either Vader's schedule, it was not allowing, because he was very booked, or it was a situation where I don't think me and Vader ever got to that point where we had discussed him appearing on the show for money. But I do remember one of the exchanges I said, I did say, I think it might have been my second attempt to get him on the show, because I think the first go round he was busy, but I remember the second go round, I said, look, if it's a situation where you'd like to be compensated for your time, we'd be more than happy to oblige. We do respect you. We respect everything that you've done for the business. We're willing to pay you for your time. Nothing more, nothing less. We're just thinking maybe 30, 45 minutes or whatever. And I normally don't pay for interviews, but in the case of Vader, I was willing to pay, especially, and I think this was right at about the time. Actually, I tried to get him before he got the diagnosis, and then a little bit of time that passed after he got his diagnosis. So I reached out to him and I said, hey, I saw what you had said recently with regards to DDP and all that. That really sucks, but have you thought about trying to start up a crowdfunding page? I don't know if you're aware of these crowdfunding pages, but this is basically how they work. And I would love to help manage your crowdfunding page. I could basically start it up. I could promote the hell out of it. I can, you don't have to do anything. All you got to do is just make sure everything is in your name so that when you reach the financial goal, hey, the money's made out. in your name. It goes into your account. You can have your family set it up for you and all that. You know, I'm just your guy that's going to create it and promote it for you. And he was very interested to the point he actually had gave me his, I think it was his cell phone number. It's either his cell phone or his home number, but he gave me his phone number. And he was like, here, call me. He's like, call me anytime, you know, tomorrow on, call me anytime. And yeah, I remember I went back to my girl. I said, hey, we got Vader's number. It's like, so, you know, he seems to be very interested in doing this whole crowdfunding thing. And she goes, oh, well, that's great. And then, you know, I let a day or two pass and I just kind of marinated on it a little bit more. And I said, you know, I don't know if I really have the energy and the time to really devote to promoting the hell out of a crowdfunding page, you know, setting it up. And then, you know, because I was definitely willing to not only launch it, you know, manage it and all that, but I was also going to tap into the powers of Tammy with her social media, public affairs skills, and do networking and try to get him on other shows to basically share his story, promote the crowdfunding page and all that nature. And I remember at the time my schedule was really just, it was ridiculous. And I couldn't do it. I just could not devote the time to do it, sadly. So I backed out. But as far as the RCWR show Vader connection, trust me, when I say to you guys in most honesty that when I found out about the passing of Vader, did it rock me? It did, because now stop and think about everything that I just said. Does that sound like somebody to you that doesn't care about Vader? Only a person that, and I was willing to do all this for free. I even said that to him in the email. I said, I'll do all this work for you for free. I don't want nothing. I was like, I don't want no name recognition, nothing. Because the plan was already in my mind. I'm just going to set this up under my name, not the show handle. I'm just going to set it up in my name, and we're going to do it that way. So if anybody was definitely truly rocked by his passing, it was definitely me. But at the same time, like, he prepared us 2 years ago. He said the doctors only gave him 2 years. And if you guys see me just flying my hands around, there is a little tiny little fly. For those of you watching the webcast, there's a little tiny fly that is just coming around here. It's that time of the year down here. We got a lot of trees. They're nice and blown up over here now in a nice little wooded area. So the flies are kind of popping up. But you know, he prepared us, but still, when it finally does happen, you can't help but go, God, this fucking sucks. And I mean, all of his contributions that he made to the sport of professional wrestling, take your pick, man. One of my all-time favorite matches, and I'm sure it's on the list of a lot of you guys as well. I'm sure it's on your respected lists as well, which is Vader taking on Stan Hansen, New Japan Pro Wrestling, 1992. Vader has his eye come out of fucking socket and he actually pokes the son of a bitch right back in. I mean, you talk about the definition of a tough son of a bitch. A man's man. Man, Vader, hands down in my top 10, on my top 10 list. All right, Vader's right there as far as a tough son of a bitch. That was one of my all-time favorite matches. One of my all-time favorite moments was him taking on Stan Hansen. And another great classic match that I had enjoyed thoroughly. And I remember talking with kids in my neighborhood and at school about it. You got to go August 2nd, 1992, when Vader lost to Ron Simmons for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, the original big gold belt. You talk about just a historic moment here as we officially had got our first African-American or black champion, world heavyweight champion. And Vader was part of that moment. Everybody remembers so much about Ron Simmons, but, you know, a lot of people, you know, hardcore Vader fans, we also know, hey, Vader was part of that match too, and he didn't make it easy for Ron Simmons. But majority of people always forget that Vader was actually part of that moment as well. So great fun moment right there. Or of course, when he had faced the Undertaker, Canadian Stampede, July 6th of 1997. Pretty classic moment right there as well. Just so many good moments, man. I actually remember the episode of Table for Three where he talked with Diamond Dallas Page and he talked with Sting, and it was basically like a WCW edition. I would highly encourage you guys, if you did not check out that Table for Three on the network, go back and check it out. It was actually really good. And Vader looked to be just a little bit smaller, just a little tiny bit smaller than what we had saw of him in previous years. 1993's leather strap match with the icon Sting, another great moment. I mean, so many great moments that we had got from Vader, and it's kind of sad. Oh, and let me tell you, Vader, a true friend of not just podcasts, but a true friend of the Shoot Interview franchise. I mean, he was a fan of the shoot industry. He had many fans. Take your pick: High Spots, Hannibal TV, kayfabe commentaries. The man was like, you know, if you were in the shoot industry and you're looking for ways to really bring some type of name recognition to your brand, right? There was a series you were trying to promote and you were trying to really get up off on the good foot. Leon White, Vader, that was the man that you went to. And he made some good contributions, in particular to kayfabe commentaries. When you look up the WCW timeline, if I remember it right, from 1993. So always a fan, not just in the podcasting world, but in the shoot industry as well. And from a lot of people, even from Sean Oliver's book that he had put out. Don't ask me to remember the title right now because it is so freaking long. It's not even funny. But if there's one overall consensus that a lot of people had to say about Vader: very kind, very sweet, one of those guys that for everything that he accomplished in the business, it did not go to his head whatsoever. He did not act like a selfish freaking prick in any type of fashion. When he interacted with you, he treated you like a freaking human being. You both were basically on the same level. It wasn't him here and you way down there. It wasn't like that at all. He treated you like an equal. I've heard that a lot from a lot of people. And so it's really sad to see one of the good ones go out. Probably what's even more sad about this is the fact that Vader did not go into the WWE Hall of Fame before he passed. There were so many people that were really pushing for him to go into the Hall of Fame, but for whatever respected reason, it never happened. And I tell you, just participating in a lot of the active forums for over the past several days, a lot of people, and look, I want to say this, and I know eventually it's going to get back to him, and I don't even want him to respond to this, but he probably will. But everybody that's saying, oh, Mark Henry was not deserving of his spot, the guy is basically still active and all that, now more than ever, that should have been given to Vader. Look, in defense of WWE, did they know that Vader was on borrowed time? Yeah, they did know he was on borrowed time. They could have easily done the right thing and they could have put him in the Hall of Fame while he was alive. I do agree with that 100%. But they decided, nah, you know what? We're going to go on ahead and we're going to go with these guys. I'm not singling anybody out in particular, but everybody wants to single out Mark Henry. because a lot of people felt that it was basically backlash after Vader died. A lot of fans took to social media, blogs, all of that, and basically were saying in retrospect, hey, it should have been Vader and Mark Henry's place. You know, the only thing I can say to that is there is no excuse. Did WWE royally fuck up? Yeah, they did mess up. They should have put the man in while he was alive. And now it kind of feels as though he's probably going to be going in next year, but it's just not going to feel the same. It's going to feel like a cheap consolation prize, basically. You know, remember how you always wanted that really cool, awesome toy in the Cracker Jacks box or whatever? You know, you hear how you can get really cool toys, at least back in the day. Now it's some shit, but back in the day, you used to be able to get really cool prizes from the Cracker Jack box. And you just keep eating it, and you're going, man, I can't wait to see what the prize is. Can't wait to see what the prize is. Oh man, it's gonna be something cool. I hope it's bubble gum, or oh, I hope it's a tattoo. I know as a kid, that's what me and the other boys in the neighborhood loved. We loved when we were able to dig into the Cracker Jack box, and we were able to get one of those tattoos where you put it on your arm, and then you would go run warm water over that area, and you'd rub it down, and then you'd slowly peel it off, and then you had a nice little cool tattoo that'd be on your hand, on your wrist, forearm, shoulder, wherever. And once you get down to the bottom of that Cracker Jack box, no, it's not a piece of bubble gum. No, it's not even fake jewelry. No, it's not even a tattoo. It's a lame ass baseball card, or no, it's some lame ass comic book strip, or in some instances, there'd be nothing in there. Whoopsie. So, you know, you were disappointed. It's just going to feel like a weak consolation prize by the time next year comes around, quite honestly. But WWE had the knowledge that Vader was on borrowed time, and they could have put him in at any time. It led to the point where I said, man, did Vader do something wrong by the WWE? Did he like sue them or something? Why are they acting like this guy has the plague or whatnot? I don't get it. Like somebody explain this to me. Why are they he can get into every single other Hall of Fame, but he doesn't get into the WWE Hall of Fame. This makes no sense whatsoever. It's just one of those head scratchers that you're just left going, explain this. Explain this. How does a man that is so well liked in the business, so well respected, how is he shown the ultimate disrespect and not put into the WWE Hall of Fame sooner while he was still alive? And I'm just curious to all of my fellow colleagues out there in the radio broadcasting world, podcasting world, and you get the opportunity to interview the Stephanie McMahons, in particular the Triple H's, ask that question. Say, hey, with the recent passing of Leon White, the man known as Vader, a lot of people are a bit upset that he wasn't able to go into the Hall of Fame while he's still alive. Now there is a strong indication amongst the same fans that he's probably going to be going in the next couple of years, but a lot of folks feel he should have went in while alive. You know, how do you explain this huge, I won't even call it an oversight, but if we're going to call it an oversight, we'll go ahead. I'm curious what the response is. You know, anybody that's really trying to put on a journalistic hat and they really want to try to get down to the bottom of what were you guys thinking? You guys that like to participate in WWE conference calls, things of that nature, there's a real question that you guys should be putting out is, what was the logic in not having this man go in a lot sooner while alive, right? My mom and my grandmother, they used to live by this old saying, which was, don't put flowers on a dead person's grave, because they're not able to appreciate them after they're all long gone. That's what my grandmother used to always say. And I so believe that. I so believe that the Hall of Fame does nothing. It means nothing now that he's passed. It doesn't. It's sad. It's just really sad all the way around. But I would definitely recommend to you newer listeners, you're not that familiar with the career of Vader, go out of your way, check out some stuff on the network. Definitely, I know that if you go on Amazon, I offer eBay, you could probably find some really good compilations. And that's another thing. All the access to the archives from WCW, a little bit of WWE or whatnot. I'm a bit surprised that there was never in previous years before the DVD industry really kind of started to, right? I'm really surprised that there was not a Vader DVD that was put out there. I'm really surprised at that. Very amazed. But rest in peace, Vader. Rest in peace, Vinnie Paul. Two guys that we had lost last week. Hope you guys are enjoying the show so far. If you are, make sure you give the thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so already. Click the like, click the heart icon, share, word of mouth. That's pretty much how you do it, man. So we're gearing up for the 4th of July holiday break. I got to pose a question out there to you guys. And I heard about this. Okay, so you guys that have been watching Lucha Underground, I'm a little bit out of the loop because pretty much after season 2, I got to get caught up to speed. I have an opportunity to sit down and chat with Marty the Moth. What I'm trying to figure out is Marty, I'm not saying this to disrespect the young man, but you guys that watch Lucha Underground, would Marty be a good guest to have on the show? Or is he just kind of one of those, C+ supporting role type of characters on Lucha Underground? I tried to ask on my personal Facebook page, which by the way, I gotta hip you guys to something real quick, but I have an opportunity to sit down with the guy. And I pretty much, I didn't jump on it just yet because I really didn't know anything about Marty. So I'm trying to figure out if this man is actually, should I make the investment? I don't want to make the investment. And a majority of you guys are not care for him. So it would make sense to have him on the show and nobody really cares, right? Whereas if it was maybe a Catalina, a John Morrison, right? Okay, that kind of makes a little bit more sense. Yeah, let's go in that direction. Yeah, I would actually like to hear that. And I would also like to give a shout out to my good friend over at the Epic Sports community. If you can somehow splice this up, because we want to get everybody involved. We want to get the RCWR Nation involved, and we want to get the Epic Sports community involved. You guys that have been watching Lucha Underground, like I said, after season 2, I pretty much kind of got a little bit out of the loop, and I'm trying to play catch up. Is Marty the Moth someone that provides a pretty good conversation? And if so, would you like for me to sit down and chat with him? So sound off on that. Was teasing a little bit about Facebook. Now, look, I'm not going to blast the person out, but I need to stress this. Since 2011 that I have been doing this show, okay? Since 2011, I have been doing this show. I've always told you guys that if you want to interact with me in between the shows, I say Twitter, I say Facebook, I say Instagram, I say YouTube. Use the keywords, the RCWR Show. I always promote the hell out of those pages. And I've said many times over the years that in between the shows, I'm pretty much a very private person, right down to the point. The majority of my close friends, my family, majority of them aren't even into the pro wrestling. Majority of them, they're aware I do a podcast, but they don't particularly care for the talk of wrestling because they're not fans of wrestling. However, they love when I do other shows like Wrestling with the Topics, and I don't talk wrestling. I'm talking all kinds of interesting other topics. You know, could be political, could be controversial topics, a little bit of tabooish topics, headlines, things of that nature. So they like that. Or I'm doing 30 with Lee. I'm reviewing a movie or whatever. They like stuff like that. But the world of pro wrestling is pretty much, they don't know nothing about it. I am a very reserved man away from the show. And I say that because over the weekend, someone had sent me a friend request on my private Facebook page. And I'm going, well, wait a minute. How the hell was this person able to find my private Facebook page? It's like, I don't promote this. You kind of got to really go out of your way to find it. Like, what the hell? And I need to just friendly remind you guys that if you send me a friend request to my personal Facebook page, I will instantly block you. Now, you should still be able to interact on the show page, but as far as trying to be my personal friend, that's not happening. The way I have set my personal Facebook page up, my Facebook page is for family and close friends only. Please respect that. If you want to interact with me and you want to talk all things wrestling or movies or whatever, my God, man, you got YouTube, you've got the Twitter, you've got the RCWR Show page on Facebook, you even got Instagram. That's 4 outlets right there. Hell, you can even send a voicemail message over at the website at infinityOneProductions.com, which, by the way, I'm going to be working on a few tweaks in the coming weeks as far as being more interactive goes. I'm kind of thinking about it. We'll see how it goes, but I'm considering bringing back the phone line so we can have people call into the show and all that. We'll see how it goes. We kind of scrapped it because we had a couple of crazy people that were calling in, and they were just, was watching Raw, and, yeah. Okay, so what did you think of it? Yeah, well, it was it was good. What did you think was good about it? Oh, the matches. The matches were, what about the matches? What match in specific did you like? Really, I'm not making, this is how people that actually were calling into the show at one point, this is how they were sounding. And it was dragging on. It just sounded like they were just trying to kill airtime. It just sounded like they were just basically trying to be on the air with me, and they really didn't have anything of substance to bring to the show. And it's like, okay, we're going to keep it moving along, right? So please respect that. Respect the fact that I say to you, interact with me on these respected outlets. When you show the ultimate disrespect and you try to contact me on my personal and private, that's the other thing, my joints aren't out in the open. My joints are private, meaning you can't see what I post. You can't see, who all I'm friends with. I'm very, very private. So respect that, because when I see you go out of your way to send a friend request, that lets me know you're not listening. And I look at that as the ultimate sign of disrespect. So please, if you mean well, do it the right way. Interact on those outlets that I have mentioned. All right. Want to get into some shout outs. We'll start off by talking about our Patreon members. I want to show them some love, because without their kind contribution, shows like what you're checking out right now would not be free. So we definitely want to recognize our Patreon members. We love them tremendously. Shout out to the beautiful, the lovely Courtney Summers. Shout out to Michael Wolf. Shout out to John Davis. Shout out to Anthony Missionary Thomas of Wrestling Soup. Shout out to Joe Raymond Jr. And I gotta say, by the way, I polled you guys earlier. If you guys are not aware of this poll, do yourselves a favor and go check it out. It's on YouTube, youtube.com/the RCWR Show. Click on the communities tab. There's a new poll that's up right now. This ties into Patreon, by the way. So I've got this idea running in my head, which is basically, I'm thinking about releasing a couple of additional Wrestling with the Topics episodes, but I was thinking about releasing them on the RSS feed. So basically, people would be able to access them for the downloads on demand on all the usual great listening platforms. So you can check it out on all your respected devices. So I was thinking, okay, well, let me kind of see if I'm going in the right direction, if maybe I should go in this direction. So I need you guys' help. So there's a new poll that's up on YouTube. And basically, I say, and I quote, okay, guys, I've been doing some thinking. I wonder if I should release just a few Wrestling with the Topics episodes in the RSS feeds so folks can hear it on demand and downloads. If big if I made these available, I'd like to know honestly if you'd listen and if it would help some of you out more in determining if you would think strongly more, basically consider more into regularly being a Patreon member so you can get access to that and other great audio video content that's exclusive to Patreon only, beginning at just $5 a month. And we got some decent votes that came in. And so far, I like what I'm seeing. So far, I see, it's almost even. We've got 50% that are saying, yes, I've yet to hear the show. Please release for the downloads. We also have 42% that are saying, wasn't aware of the new series or your Patreon page. And then we have 8% that are saying, listen to a few and love them, but can't afford Patreon subscription. You'd be surprised. Some people, unfortunately, $5. Yeah, that sounds like a really great deal considering you get anywhere from 4 to 8 pieces of audio content a month for just $5. But for some people, especially if you're on a tight budget, you don't really have that type of money to be sparing. So cast your votes. And what's probably going to end up happening is I think what I'll do, I'll plug this poll this week and I'll promote it next week. And then pretty much by next week, I'm going to know whether or not if I'm going to go on ahead and release just the next 2 to 3 episodes. I think the way I'll set it up so that the Patreon family is not alienated, what I'll do is I will give them exclusive access first. I'll give them first dibs. And then maybe 4 days afterwards, I'll release it for on demand and on the downloads. And then we can pretty much go about it that way. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. But sign up, man. Patreon.com/RCWR Show. You get access to some really awesome content, man. I just literally put out a new Wrestling with the Topics with Tammy. And we went into a wide range of great topics. We went in depth about what's going on with Trump and this whole immigration thing. We didn't talk about what went down today because we did it like basically over the weekend. And actually, no, we did it right before the weekend. I think we recorded it Wednesday or Thursday of last week. So we talked about what was going on with Trump, the immigration camp, how these people and the children are basically set up in these camps, these institutions, these temporary institutions. We also talked about the death of compact disc. That was really a great back and forth. I would highly encourage you guys check that out. And I already recorded the audio. I just got to basically upload it to Patreon. And I haven't been feeling good the past couple of days. It's basically my A1C. My sugar's been a little bit low, so I've been resting a little bit more, but I have been eating a bit smarter. And ever since we had got the new diagnosis about, hey, your A1C is almost through the roof, man, bring it down. I've been eating a lot smarter to the point I've lost 6 pounds so far. So my goal right now, and I was telling Tammy this, I said, look, our goals right now, we got to look good for Chicago for CM Punk, but we got to look 2 times good going into our wedding, right? And so we're both really pushing the hell out of each other to make it happen and everything. And I will say that it's nice getting a text message from the missus saying, "Are you okay? Are you eating smart? You taking your medicine?" It's like, "Yes, dear, I'm okay. I'm good." But yes, tomorrow after I get in from work, I'm gonna clean up the audio and upload it. It will be, I think I'm gonna go on ahead and make it. What I'll do, it's gonna be first dibs for the Patreon members, but I'll say maybe Saturday, Sunday, it'll be available for everybody to listen to, meaning you don't need to sign up on Patreon. You'll be able to just check it out for free. I'll release the Luke Cage season 2 review. That's going to be a special 30 with Lee edition. Let me just say this right now. Anybody that is a fan of all things Marvel, you are a fan of all the Marvel shows that are on Netflix, let me say you need to go out of your way. You need to, if you haven't done so already, you need to check out season 2 of Luke Cage. I am telling you 2 things that jumped out at me off the break with regards to this second season. Probably single-handedly the strongest second season, I would dare say, of all the Marvel shows, period. You can even throw in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., put in Peggy Carter and all that, just all of them, to tally them all up. I would have to say Luke Cage season 2, single-handedly, hands down, the strongest second season for a Marvel show to date. For me to say that, that speaks volumes. Great emphasis on storytelling, great emphasis on character development. I just, those are the things that really jumped out at me the most. So if you haven't done so already, check it out. I binged like a mother Friday night, and I pretty much kept it going all the way. I don't think I wrapped it up until Sunday night by about, I'd say right before midnight is when I wrapped it up. I probably Friday night, I think I watched about maybe five, maybe 6 episodes. And then Saturday night, I watched one of the episodes. I watched again because I knew I was kind of getting a little bit sleepy. So I went on ahead and rewatched it because there was 13 episodes. So the first night I watched about 6 episodes. The second night, I watched one of the episodes over again, pretty much the last episode. And then I watched on top of that maybe 3, 4 additional episodes. So that took me up to episode 9. And then Sunday, I just hammered out the rest. And it was fucking awesome. Great series, man. And I got to tell you, Ali Shaheed Muhammad and Adrian Young, the composers and producers, guys responsible for all the great music that you've been hearing from Luke Cage so far, as getting them all together and everything, they did a phenomenal job with this second season. I actually have the vinyl. As a matter of fact, let me see here. Matter of fact, hang on, guys. See if I can. Yeah, there it is. I want to show you guys this bad boy right here. And yeah, this is my pride and joy right here, man. This is the Luke Cage soundtrack for the first season, volume 1. You guys that's listening on the downloads or on demand, sadly, you're not going to be able to see me holding up the album. You got to watch the stream, but the Luke Cage soundtrack for the first season, fucking killer, man. Fucking killer. I love it. This is vinyl, baby. So when I tell you guys that I love me some vinyl, I really do love me some vinyl. And the second season is available on vinyl right now. Officially, the only way you can get these bad boys, you pretty much got to go on the Mondo website. That's Mondo. They worked out a lot of exclusive deals with a lot of film distributors, companies, things of that nature for exclusive licenses and all that, so they can put together some really good music. And I tell you, just the way Adrian Young and Ali Shaheed Muhammad, that should sound familiar to you guys if y'all know your hip hop. He is from A Tribe Called Quest. Yeah, they always do a fantastic job with the soundtrack selection. So, what do we want to talk about next? I mean, look, Raw, SmackDown, I don't really have too much to say. Let's kind of backtrack a little bit. SmackDown, wow. So, Team Hell No is back together. I didn't think WWE was going to pull the trigger this soon. I must say that was a pleasant surprise. It legitimately was, because it seemed as though that, well, I guess when you kind of think about it, Uso brothers are a bit tied up with Sanity right now. Bludgeon brothers, they pretty much took care of the Usos. They've taken care of New Day. They've taken care of Gallows Anderson, right? So you kind of needed a new threat to come at them, right? So, I guess it makes a lot of sense for Team Hell No to get back together, but a lot of us, I didn't expect it. That was the last thing I expected was Team Hell No. And to hear the fans chanting at the end of SmackDown tonight, Team Hell No, you're going, wow. The fact that the fans still remember Team Hell No, because we've seen these fans, and we got to be honest here. You and me, we may love us some Team Hell No, but man, when you go, okay, this was 3-4 years ago or whatever, you kind of go, yeah, that's a bit outdated. Crowds probably moved on, but no, the fans were cheering for this. They were eating it up. So it looks like in 2 weeks at Extreme Rules, it's going to be the Bludgeon Brothers defending their SmackDown tag titles against Team Hell No. I'm telling you, man, I know we're going to go into predictions next week, but I personally would love to see Team Hell No win the tag titles. Nothing personal against the Bludgeon Brothers, but let me be honest. When the Bludgeon Brothers are coming out, I usually use that as an opportunity to go walk the dog, use the bathroom, wash some dishes. I do everything else, and then I pretty much catch the tail end of a Bludgeon Brothers match. I'm being totally honest here. I'm still not really feeling the Bludgeon Brothers. Have they moved past looking like Kane wannabes? Yeah, they have, but there's just something about the gimmicks that I'm just not really feeling. Quite honestly, I want to like them. That's the thing. I want to like them. I love Luke. I love Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. I love those guys. I saw what they were doing on the independents. I love what was coming about with them when they were in the Wyatt family. But this new version of them that's running around, I just fully cannot get behind it. And I tell you what, Team Hell No, I'm seeing dollar signs. You know me, guys. At the end of the day, it's all about business. And excuse me, and for me, I'm seeing dollar signs when I look at Team Hell No. And not to mention, let's take it a step further. It would also be a smart move to have this go down for Daniel Bryan for a little bit, because you would basically be extending his longevity in the ring. Okay, here you go, Daniel Bryan. You don't have to do as much work because we've got you in a tag match with Kane, right? Those times when he does have a one-on-one match, now Kane could be at ringside, or it could be vice versa, not really doing too much. I gotta say, some of the stuff that I have been seeing Daniel Bryan do in that ring these past several weeks on just a standard episode of SmackDown, it's made me really concerned, to the point I'm saying, wait a minute now. I thought this young man was going to be wrestling a more smarter style. I thought he was going to be more mat orient based. And that doesn't really seem to be the case. It's not more mat based. What the hell? And we're still seeing him do flying headbutts and all types of other suicide dives. And you're going, Daniel, what the hell, man? Just one slip up, one bad hit to that head is all it's going to take. Then what's going to happen? So I still wish that somebody would pull Daniel Bryan to the side and say, hey, young man, you got to wrestle a little bit smarter. But, you know, honestly, I don't mind him teaming up with Kane, especially if it's going to be a situation where it's going to extend just long enough, maybe until a little bit past SummerSlam. I still feel that the main event for SummerSlam is going to be AJ Styles taking on Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship. I would love to see that match. I said that match should happen, I think 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, and I'm still calling for that match to happen. That's your moneymaker right there. Other than that, we see James Ellsworth. He's going to be in a match next week, apparently. But did Paige say who the opponent was going to? Yes, Asuka. That's who it was. Yeah, he's going to have a match against Asuka next week. That should be very interesting. I am seeing that WWE is taking cue of what James Ellsworth has been doing on the free agency market, right? Being the first intergender champion and all that. So I'm not going to put any more stock into this match until I actually see it. I'm hoping it's not going to be a quick 2-minute job, right? I'm hoping that we're going to see a lot more than what I think is going to be playing out. Anything else happen from SmackDown that's kind of noteworthy? I know Becky Lynch had a solid match against Sonya Deville, and anybody noticed she was wearing pride colors. Ain't nothing wrong with that, but it was nice seeing her represent. A bit out of character, but you know, honestly, I liked seeing her represent, holding it down there. I know she could sink your teeth into for SmackDown. Let's piggyback to Raw. Raw, I love how they closed out the night with the Intercontinental Championship match that was between Seth Rollins, Dolph Ziggler. That was a fantastic spot right there. Man, Seth Rollins coming so close to becoming a Intercontinental Champion again, but Drew McIntyre interfering. Did anybody else think that Dean Ambrose was getting ready to come out? I know I was. And I was disappointed a bit when Roman Reigns came out. I felt myself go, you know, but I'm going, you know, all right, it is what it is. But I was really hoping for some Dean Ambrose. I mean, at this point, you just can't help but wonder, is Dean going to be back in time for at least SummerSlam? Sheesh. I mean, really, I miss me some Dean Ambrose, man. I would more love to see Dean Ambrose teaming with Seth Rollins right now, as opposed to Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. Give me Dean and Seth. Those are the two I want to see right now. But that was a really great Intercontinental matchup. And I see it really is coming off as though it's a storyline, but the supposed WWE Brock Lesnar contract negotiations, blah, blah, blah. Look, man, when it's all said and done, I'm not biting it whatsoever. I personally feel that this is nothing more than a well scripted tactic that WWE is using to explain why Brock Lesnar will not be fighting at Extreme Rules. I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense considering the fact that after Extreme Rules, you're pretty much going to be going into your next pay-per-view. And if I'm not mistaken, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm actually looking it up right now as we're talking. But if I'm not mistaken, the next pay-per-view after Extreme Rules, it should be SummerSlam, because usually they like to hype up SummerSlam like 7 weeks in advance or whatever. So actually, let me jump ahead a little bit here. I'm actually looking at what's coming up next here. Hang on a second here, guys. See, it's giving me NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. 'Cause, 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 'cause but I'm not able to see. Hang on, let me see here. That's in August. Yeah, that's in August. So Takeover in Brooklyn, that's going to be on August the 18th. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the next pay-per-view after Extreme Rules, it should be SummerSlam. Let me look here. I see NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. That's going to be on August the 18th. Let me do it this way. Let me see WWE pay-per-views 2018, and we'll pretty much do it like that. And boom. See if it'll give it to me that way. I want to make sure I'm giving you guys the right information here. Jump right to 2018. I almost got it. There we go. Let's see. Yeah. So July 15th, July 15th will be Extreme Rules. And then August 19th is SummerSlam. Yeah, so honestly, I'm really looking at this as somewhat of a cheap tactic to just basically explain why Brock Lesnar is not going to be at Extreme Rules. It sucks. Make no mistake about it. Look, man, we have been beating this horse to death for many weeks, which is Brock Lesnar. For Brock Lesnar, he's got one sweet ass deal the way that was structured. But if you're the WWE, this is one of the most shittiest damn deals that has ever come across. And I love the gift that somebody had put up where basically WWE celebrated the fact that Brock Lesnar has had like the longest reigning he's like the longest reigning defending champion right now in recent year. He basically surpassed CM Punk's record and all that. And somebody put up this funny ass gift that basically said, you can't defend a title if you're hardly defending it at all. If you're not on that many pay-per-views, and it's the young black brother that's pointing at his head and he's going, yeah, think about it. And you're going, so true. But no, I'm looking at this as a cheap tactic, nothing more, nothing less. Let's talk about what was really the most fun thing of this week's Raw, though. Bayley snapping on Sasha Banks and beating the holy crap out of her. I smelled this a mile away from the moment that Kurt Angle said to Bayley, hey, you're going to be teaming up with Sasha again, and you two need to make it work or else. And I'm more curious as to, or else what? What's going to happen if they aren't able to work it out, Kurt? What are you going to do? Are you going to suspend them? You know, fire them? What? Are you going to put them in a match against each other? What else? You know, or else? Or else? What are you going to do? And to see Bayley finally just snap, I loved it. And I think the euphoria that you heard from fans in attendance, and when you just really stop and you think about how people have probably been filling in forms and all that, you know, my takeaway from a distance, we have been waiting patiently to see some type of a mean streak in Bayley for quite some time. And it couldn't happen at a better moment. And I tell you what had me in tears laughing was the fact that as Sasha Banks is getting the bejeebus kicked out of her, the fans are cheering for this. If anybody should be a victim here, it's poor Sasha Banks minding her own damn business. And Bayley just snapped like a Wolverine. But no, we're cheering for the fact that Sasha's getting her butt whooped. Loved it. Loved it. But now you hear this silly crap about Bayley is going to have to go take an anger management class next week. Stupid booking 101. Wait a minute. All those times that Braun Strowman was running around grapple hook and he's ripping shit down and flipping cars over and coming out of a dumpster truck. And I mean, all the crap that he's done over the series of months, he's never had to take an anger management class. That makes no sense to me. Right? I mean, so I I'm gonna let that one be. I'll let you guys marinate on that one for a few ticks. But for me, I I shook my head going, anger management. Now look, man, look, I would love to believe that this new mean streak that we're seeing in Bayley, that is going to be something that's going to continue to go on for months to come. But I think it's just a situation where it's only going to be with Sasha, because if you stop and think about it, creative has been planting the seeds for these two girls' feuds for a very long time. For a very, very long time. I mean, it almost feels like these two girls have been at it for about, if not 5, for sure 4 months now. So this has been a good build-up. And honestly, just keeping all of that in mind, what's been happening with these two, the animosity that's been brewing, I feel as though this mean streak, it will culminate in these two finally getting it on at extreme, I was about to say extremely, at Extreme Rules. But I can also see them wrapping this up, I want to say SummerSlam. I think these two girls, they're definitely going to collide at Extreme Rules, but I think everything's going to just basically end at SummerSlam, and then afterwards you've got your reset. It's pretty much on to Survivor Series. Yeah, so that's how I'm looking at it. But let's see, what else came about from Raw this week? I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm missing from Raw. I don't really think there's anything else. I saw Authors of Pain, they came back. Great seeing them. I still feel that they are naked without Paul Ellering. I could have done without seeing them take on the created wrestlers from WWE 2K. Speaking of 2K, in case you guys had missed the news, Rey Mysterio is the latest bonus content that you're able to get when you pre-order. I'm kind of wondering if it's just one skin of Rey Mysterio you get, or if it's multiple skins of Rey Mysterio you get when you pre-order. But here's the bigger question. What is going on with the WWE 2K19 Collector's Edition? What all does that entail? Because I pre-ordered like many others, and it's okay. So we pre-ordered. What do we get? And we don't know what we're getting. We know we're getting the game. And I still feel in my heart of hearts that the way 2K is going about this with the whole, oh, if you pre-order, you get to play it 4 days earlier than the street release or whatever like that. Let me tell you something, man. I didn't like that this had went down last year, and it appears as though it's repeating again this year. I don't like the fact that for guys like me that have pre-ordered the collector's edition, right? We have to wait for our physical copy before we're able to actually play the game. Meaning we pre-order it, we're getting our collector's edition, but we're going to get our collector's edition the day of street release. Whereas if you pre-order it like digitally, in the PlayStation Store, or if you get it in the Xbox Marketplace, Microsoft Store, whatever, right? You pre-order it, you're going to get a code so that you can download your game and all that days before the official street release. So I think it kind of sucks. And I think one of the ways that WWE 2K could really, it's really all on 2K. I'm sure WWE would give the green light, but it's really all on 2K Sports. If 2K Sports, with regards to these collector's editions, once it's confirmed, hey, we got our money from this collector's edition, because I know with regards to Amazon and GameStop, for example, when you pre-order with them, they do not take your money until the product ships out. So for me, it makes all the sense in the world to, okay, yoink, we're taking your money because your items are getting ready to ship. Now you get your code. perfect scenario. I pre-ordered the deluxe edition of Fallout 76 last week, and as a result of pre-ordering, like, man, it was probably maybe the next day at most, I get an email from Bethesda, or actually, no, not Bethesda. It was actually an email from Amazon, and they said, "Hey, thanks for pre-ordering Fallout 76. Here's your unique redeem code so that you can play Fallout 76 the beta." And they basically were like, go on the Bethesda site, log in, put in your redemption code, redeem cost, redemption code, put in your redeem code, and pretty much they were like, and then enjoy it. Now, sadly, Fallout 76, the beta, it has not come out yet. There's no telling when it's going to come out. We know the full game is supposed to come out in November, but we don't know right now when the beta is supposed to come out. I'm led to the impression at this point, maybe late July, maybe early August is when the beta will be released, right? Hopefully slots are not limited, but it looks as though with regards to the Fallout 76 beta, it looks as though the only way you're going to be able to play that beta is if you pre-ordered in the PlayStation Store or in the Microsoft Store, you'll be able to get a redeem code. But if you pre-ordered it, let's say on Amazon, even though you pre-ordered it on Amazon and you chose Xbox or PlayStation, it looks as though they're trying to force upon you to play a PC version of the beta. I have to double check on that, but I thought it was kind of weird how it all was basically set up. I got to play around with that a little bit more, but you would like to believe that maybe on top of Rey Mysterio, because let's be honest, I can't tell you how many great CAW creators I've seen over the years that have created some really good spot-on Rey Mysterios. I mean, really good spot-on Rey Mysterios. Like, the tattoos are accurate and everything. 100% accurate. So, I mean, hearing that Rey Mysterio is going to be a good pre-order here, I mean, what else you got? That's pretty much my whole message. What else you got, WWE? So, I mean, Ronda, that's like an automatic. But, okay, give me some more. Surprise me. What else are you going to... Give me something I haven't seen in a while, you know? I don't know. Maybe give me some Vader DLC when you pre-order. That would be kind of badass. Unless he's already in the game or whatever, then that defeats that. But we need to know what's going on with this collector's edition. It better be similar to what they did with the John Cena joint. Otherwise, it's going to be a huge, huge disappointment as far as I'm concerned. So we learned a little bit more about what was going on with Big Cass as far as his release from the WWE goes. I mean, my God, you got so many reports that's out there. But you know what? It almost kind of echoes on some of the things that I had said on last week's show. Remember how I basically addressed all the rumors that was being put out there as far as Big Cass's release and everything? And look, let's be honest, him going a bit further than expected of him with regards to the midget or the small person, I should say, in the segment that they did some weeks back. You know what? That is a young man that's basically, you know what? I'm going to take the chance. I'm going to roll the dice. Let's stop and really think about it for a second. A lot of these guys in WWE, they're walking on eggshells. They're walking on these leashes, these tight leashes that's around their neck. They can only do but so much creatively. Sometimes you got to go out of your comfort zone a little bit and shake it up a little bit, right? I don't believe, just for the sake of the argument, I don't believe, I never did believe that him going a bit further with that small person, that basically was, okay, you're fired. I don't know. I am under the impression now that more information has come about that a culmination of events ultimately led to his firing. So you've got the latest reports that's being put out there about what was going on during the European tour that they had just came off of. And, they're basically saying, hey, Big Cass, he was drinking his ass off. He was acting like an idiot. Really wasn't able to hold down his liquor. He's acting very obnoxious and causing scenes. Yeah, the story that came about on the bus, somebody had thought it'd be a really good prank if while he was in the bathroom, they made it seem as though he was locked in the bathroom and there was no way for him to get out. He rips off the freaking door, off the hinges, and as a result of that, you had some people that understood what was going on with him. He was a little bit, he had that paranoia. I get it. You put a person in a really tiny, small space, and they feel like, oh my God, I can't breathe. What the hell is going on? I've been in an elevator with somebody before, and I'm saying we'll be all right. We're gonna get there, and the elevator just stops. Doors don't open or nothing. And I've seen them sweat profusely, panic, all that, about to have an anxiety attack. So I would imagine that's probably what had went down with Kaz. And that's why he ripped the damn door off the hinges. But even though some people maybe understood, hey, the people that sadly had to go use the bathroom and there's no door. Yeah, that's pretty uncomfortable, especially if you're a female, right? And heaven forbid you got to do number 2. Now everybody can hear your business, right? So, I mean, you got that. You had an incident that came about involving him and Carmella. Apparently, there was a hot argument that was going on. It was really intense. He actually grabs Carmella by the arm, try to yank her back so they could continue their argument, whatever you want to call it. Bunch of guys that were looking on saw this, separated the two, told Cass, hey, man, it's kind of wrong how you're doing it, man. Like, no, let her be. So you got that incident that's coming down. So many reports that are now coming in as far as, look, this is all, I mean, you've got Pro Wrestling Sheets. You got Dave Meltzer. You got so many people that are jumping out there saying, look, this is what Sports Illustrated. This is what all had went down with Big Cass leading up to him being released from his WWE contract. But it's just a combination. And when you stop and think about it, that on top of he was rubbing people off the wrong way, him being like this big deal, he had a lot of arrogance. It was rubbing a lot of people off the wrong way. A lot of people felt that he really wasn't coming off respectful, humbled anymore. All of these things, yeah, you're not going to last that long. And what did I say last week? If you home in on one thing that I said from last week's show, I basically had said, hey, if you're a guy like Big Cass, if you're a pro wrestler, honestly, mind your P's and Q's, be respectful, be a sponge for the business. Learn as much as you can. Go to the veterans. Go to the guys that have been there for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Sponge off of them. They've seen a lot. They've been through a lot. They've seen a lot of people come and go. Talk to them. But keep your nose clean. Stay out of trouble. Do all these things. You'll go far. But now when you hear all of these things that have been confirmed by multiple outlets, you're led to the impression that, damn, now this guy just really, really had this coming, didn't he? So, you can't really feel too sorry for him, but at the same time, he's still a relatively young man, still a bright career ahead of him. He's got a great look, tall son of a bitch, pretty decent in the ring. He needs to fine tune. Do I think he'll be back in the WWE? Yes. I think when he gets a little bit more seasoning, but most importantly, he gets a little bit more maturity under his belt, I can see him coming back to the WWE. And I got to tell you, if you are working the independents and you are looking for a 1-2 punch combo, man, you better be getting in contact with Eno Amore, aka Real One, And Big Cass, whenever his 90-day no clause is up from the WWE, you better be in on that, and you better be booking these guys for some type of a really cool venue. We talked about it on this show last week, and it's funny how great minds think alike. I know we were one of the first shows to go out there on record. I think I was the only one that really went in depth as far as what Big Cass and Enzo reminded me of, and I had said Crime Time and all that, and all of a sudden it basically like spread it like fire, believe it or not. So I'm kind of going, what the fuck? Nobody else was saying this online. What the hell? And now you got JTG. I don't know. Maybe JTG saw what I was saying about him last week. I don't know, because we do follow each other on Twitter and all that. Shout out to JTG. But now you've got people, JTG, Shaq Gaspard, Crime Time taking on Enzo Amore, Big Cass. Book it, Dan. Now everybody wants to see that. See, but if I'm a promoter on the free agency market, on the independents, I'm going, man. I'm trying to see if I can. Man, the amount of money I'd be spending to get these guys in, it would be so worth it, man. So worth it. So, but I wish the young man nothing but the very best. We have not seen the last of him. If he's very serious about this business, he's definitely going to go very, very far. We were talking about Big Cass, Enzo Amore. Let's talk about him. He did a slam dunk conversation with Steve Austin recently on Steve Austin's podcast. I want to encourage you guys, go out of your way and listen to that when you get a chance. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It ran about, the interview itself runs about, maybe, it feels like the interview runs about 60 minutes long, give or take, but it was really insightful. And I know there's two sides to a story, and then there's that silver lining in the middle, which is known as the absolute truth, right? We hear that girl side now for the first time, in depth at that, very in depth. We hear about what all went down from Enzo's perspective. And I'm telling you, it felt like therapy listening to Enzo Real One. It felt like listening to him in therapy, because Steve Austin is mostly quiet during this whole thing. He's chiming in here and there, but Steve Austin kind of feels, you can tell, I've got a firecracker here. Let me just let this guy talk. Honestly, at the end of the day, it's really about your guests anyway, right? Let them have their moment. But man, so peep this. So you had, and it was so funny because you go to Raw 25 and Enzo has this t-shirt that's on, today is the best day of my life, or something like that. And I forgot what it said on the back of the shirt about tomorrow. But, he runs into Steve Austin and other people. They had this great segment that was going to be planned out. It was basically going to be like the Enzo Amore show, right? And basically the way everything was going to be going down, Enzo was going to be playing poker with all of these WWE legends. And some point during Raw, Enzo was going to lose his cruiserweight title, only to have Nia win the title back and give it to him. And you're going, wow. But it was going to be like the Enzo show. We were going to be seeing multiple segments with Enzo. Enzo was going to have a match and all this other shit. And so Enzo gets there for script rehearsals and all that. And talk about convenient. Basically, this girl puts out this tweet conveniently, same night as Raw 25. And everybody's scrounging around trying to find Enzo because they hear about this. He goes, finds the old man, Vince McMahon. They talk one-on-one. And Vince goes, the timing of this is so bad. This looks really, really bad right now. We've got the Women's Revolution. We've got this first ever Women's Royal Rumble that's going down. Really, really bad right now. I can't put you on TV. I can't put you on TV right now, knowing all of this that's going on. What's going on? And Enzo tells Vince, hey, look, this is the first time ever that I'm hearing anything about this. And then he elaborates more to Steve Austin. So apparently, him and this girl hooked up in October. And around November, Enzo hears from a friend that basically, hey, my friend's girlfriend received an email from this person claiming that they were an investigator because there was some type of a potential crime that went down with a professional wrestler. And no names were mentioned, but Enzo kind of figured, I think I kind of know what that means, but whatever. So there were no charges, nothing like that. No warrant out for his arrest, nothing like that. Okay, it's just an email. It's a one-off deal. Whatever. Screw it. Life goes on. But when the bomb was dropped, like pretty much, you fast forward later, going into the Raw 25, you're going, whoa. Again, this is all what Enzo was saying during the conversation. So you're going, whoa. So even though Enzo knew in November, that was like his first, hey, here's this thing, he didn't think to expand upon that thought. His whole deal was, okay, ain't no charges out, no warrant out for the arrest. Okay, life goes on. And basically, Enzo had to pay his lawyers, and he had to constantly harass the police department out there to basically put out an official statement on whether or not he was being charged or if there was a warrant out for his arrest, because they basically were pussyfooting around this. And they were moving so damn slow, it got to the point where Enzo and his attorneys, they basically were like, okay, look, if you guys aren't going to help us, if you're not going to help me clear my name, then I'm just going to go on whatever podcast. I'm going to give TV show interviews or whatever. I'm going to bash you guys. I'm going to bash your department over the way you all handled this, blah, 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 blah. And finally, that's what had forced the police department to get off their ass and basically, okay, look, this is what we found. And eventually, the rest is history, right? But as you're listening to Enzo during this podcast, you realize a couple of things. One, as far as Enzo was concerned, he had worked for the WWE for 6 years, was, as far as he was concerned, a good employee by them. Anything they needed him to do, he did it. If they wanted him to lay down for somebody, he did it. Probably the only thing that just made him really say, okay, you know what? I'm not going in that direction, was when it came to him talking on the microphone. If he wasn't feeling a particular set of lines that he was supposed to say, because he knew his character, he knew how his character would truly react in a situation like that, in an instance like that, he would basically tell the writers, I'm not saying that because that doesn't sound like something I would say. Instead, we need to change this to that. And if push came to shove, he would go to the old man and say, hey, look, this is what I was thinking. And he honestly believed that. And I mean, look, if you watch the product long enough, you could see it with your own two eyes as well. But he stressed very hard how Vince McMahon believed in him. Vince McMahon really believed in his character and felt he could make really good money off of Enzo. And that's why you saw a lot of what you had saw creatively being done with Enzo. And he told Vince McMahon, he said, look, I've done everything for you guys. I played everything by the book. He's like, this is false. What you're hearing, this is bogus. And Vince basically had told Enzo, look, we're going to go on ahead. We're going to send you home for a couple of days. Enzo's like, okay, cool. So I guess maybe I'll show up at SmackDown then. And Vince is like, no, just go home and, we'll sort this out. Wait for the call. And before Enzo leaves the arena, he finds out from someone that works in WWE's legal team that Enzo has been suspended. And Enzo is pretty pissed off. Who wouldn't be? Because you're told one thing and then it's the opposite. he runs into Mark Carrano and tells him, you know, hey, that's pretty fucked up how you guys did me. Like, seriously. It's like, you know, where's the proof? You know, where's a warrant? You know, where's charges? Like, and you guys are gonna do me like this? And it was at that moment he was just so disgusted. He pretty much he was done. Not to mention, it turns out the guy was physically really beat up, back, all he was having some serious injuries that honestly what kept him going was the fact that he was trying to be a team player. He was willing to do any and everything to help get the company over. That was pretty much it at the end of the day. Yeah, was he benefiting from it? Yes. And he realized that, hey, I say no, or oh, I'm hurting, or whatever. Okay, next man up. They're going to give the ball to somebody else. So you also learn how the rap career basically had came about. Everything pretty much had went back to when he got that concussion, as you all remember, that infamous pay-per-view. And that's what made him really take a step back and say, okay, you know what? Your wrestling career, at the snap of a fingers, it could be over tomorrow. What are you going to do to bring in income for yourself? What are you going to do to get by? And that's when he started thinking about life after wrestling. And ultimately, that's what had set him up for going into a career as a rapper. He doesn't want to just be a rapper. He wants to be an actor. He wants to be like Adam Sandler and have all his friends in his movies. He wants to write, produce scripts for TV pilots, things of that nature. He wants his hands dipped into a lot of different things. As far as he's concerned, he is not going to be Eric Arndt living life with a cubicle around him. He knows that his gift is being an entertainer, and he wants to do that in any way humanly possible. You know, he really took how WWE did him. He took it like a professional, definitely hurt, as anyone I think would be hurt. But at the same time, life goes on. It is, I would say, really go out of your way, listen to it. Great fucking conversation. Like I said, man, there's always two sides to a story. In the middle, there's that silver lining that's known as the absolute truth. But when I listen to the passion that is in Real One's voice, I really genuinely do not hear acting. I don't hear affront. I hear sincerity. I really, really do. So, and looks like he's doing pretty well for himself so far, I must say. Into a couple of more items as we get ready to wind it on down for tonight. See what else can we get into here. Oh, you know, by the way, I did want to bring this up. Going back to Big Cass one more time. You know, I have a problem with the way Big Cass was ultimately released from the WWE because, quite honestly, it seems as though, you know, I can't help but wonder if at any time, and we won't really know until the 90 days is up and Big Cass does his series of interviews, right? But I can't help but wonder if anybody really of seniority, of management, really pulled Cass to the side and said, hey, look, man, here's what's going on. You're rubbing people the wrong way. Come on now. Change the game before it's too late. Or was he just left dangling in the wind there? I can't help but wonder that and ask that question because I see a young kid like a Big Cass, all the talent in the world, all the potential in the world. I want to make this work, but you know what? Let me see if I can talk to this young man. For me, it just kind of felt like, and I understand it's a culmination, right? It's a buildup. But was he spoken to each time? We've never heard of Big Cass being suspended before. So did you have to resort to firing him? I only mentioned that because I just feel as though things could and should have been handled differently. I think it's interesting that Jeff Hardy had the recent DUI issues that he was having while still employed with the WWE, right? And yeah, he might have been nursing an injury, somewhat getting ready to make his comeback or whatever. But wasn't that somewhat of a wellness uh violation? Wasn't that a wellness policy violation? I remember a time when it came to DUIs and all that in WWE, superstars had got suspended. I remember WWE, they used to try to do their very best to set an example as far as we are not going to tolerate this type of behavior. We just aren't. We're going to fine and we're going to suspend you. So I find it interesting that Jeff Hardy basically got a pass, right? If there was ever a time for WWE to say, oh, you know what? There's that same old Jeff that we knew right before he left, and he ain't changing. Why are we continuing to take the risk? Well, let's just go ahead and suspend him. Or, well, no, they're not going to release him, right? But I just find it amazing that you can fire one guy, but then you have another guy that's making headlines in the worst way possible, blood alcohol level, ridiculously, all right, wrecks his car and all that, right? And we don't hear of any type of disciplinary action happening to this man. The hell with the fact that he was on his own private time and all that other crap. You guys see and hear how it is when you're in the WWE. You're on the clock 24/7, whether you freaking like it or not. So I would love for somebody to explain that to me. How Jeff Hardy can get a pass, but Big Cass, nah, you get no pass, brother. And I don't want it to be the whole, oh well, because he's Jeff Hardy. Well, no shit, he's Jeff Hardy. But I mean, come on, I can't just sink my teeth into just that argument. There's got to be a lot more to it, but I'm just scratching my head at that one. Some other stuff I want to get into real quick here. Roseanne, she's making her rounds once again. She recently had went on, I don't even know the person's podcast or whatever, but she basically issued a sincere apology. Once again, she basically had said, I never did mean any of this to happen. Wasn't my intent. I did not mean ill will. It was a very tearful interview. And she realizes that she had hurt a lot of people. And in case she had missed the news, ABC, they have decided to go on with a new series with the remaining Connor family without Roseanne. Right now, it just has a working title of The Connors, but we don't know officially right now what the name of that new series is going to be, but it will be premiering this fall. Everybody that was involved in the Roseanne reboot, they all have their same salaries. So it's going to be very, a lot of people are wondering, how is this? The best analogy I can use, folks, think of Archie Bunker after All in the Family. In particular, when Edith died, think Archie Bunker's place. I honestly, I think that's the direction that it's pretty much going to go, except you're still going to have all of your other main supporting cast, but it's going to be very divided. Until this show premieres, it's going to be very divided as far as half of the folks are going to say, just ain't the same without Roseanne, because Roseanne was the show. And then you're going to have the other half that, well, that's great. That's great that these people are able to continue work and they're going to support this new change. But I'm not going to pass any judgment just yet, because honestly, I did not think that Archie Bunker's place would succeed. But for me, Archie Bunker's place, I remember this when I was a kid, teenager, and then going into my adult years. And I've always felt the same with regards to Archie Bunker's place, which is the first season of Archie Bunker's place was great because he had that Jewish guy that he was playing off of that was his partner. But then I want to say it was maybe halfway into the second season or by the end of the second season, that Jewish partner had rolled out. And I think he came back for one episode during the third season. But for me, after his Jewish partner had left, that's when the show kind of started to go a little bit down the tanker for me. He was a great actor too, by the way. He was in a lot of movies. I wish I could remember his name right now, but I can't. So I'm curious to see how that's going to be playing out. Becky Lynch recently was quoted in an interview talking about how she would love for there to be a women's tag team division, titles and all. Brings up a very interesting question, which is the timing right for a tag team division right now? I think so, with all the women that's basically between the two shows. Yeah. But I think if you're going to do a women's tag team division, you don't need to pull a WCW move, right? You don't need to do an alliance move where, all right, we've got these tag titles over here, and we've got these tag titles over here, and we've got these tag titles over here. I think you just need to release one set of tag titles and go on ahead and let the women fight across the shows over those women's tag titles. I think that's honestly the way that you do it. I do think there's going to be a women's tag team division, but I think as far as a timeline of when all of that is going to happen, I think, you know, if I were to make some suggestions to the WWE, I know we've got the second Mae Young tournament that's going to be coming up, and I'm ecstatic for that. I can't wait for it. I would like to believe that maybe after the Mae Young Classic tournament, if maybe a couple of months down the road, you go on ahead, you launch a all women's show that can be seen exclusively on the WWE network. Let that bad boy be produced by freaking Triple H. All right. Triple H, Fit Finlay. Let it be produced by those two guys. And I think once you bring that show about, then you go on ahead, maybe during that show, or you could do it shortly afterwards, or somehow. I would say do it once the new show launches. You can have the women's tag division debut there as well. But I think you need to sync this up very closely, because you see what's going on with the new WOW promotion that's operated under Jeannie Buss. And I'm really pulling for that promotion. My fingers are crossed. I'm really hoping that they're going to be able to do some phenomenal work. Remember, we told you on last week's show, they've got a TV deal with Access TV, and they're going to be premiering on that channel, or network rather. They'll be premiering on their spring, I believe, of 2019. Jeannie Buss should sound familiar to you guys, owner of the Lakers. All right. So I would like to believe that it's all about the timing. So, you know, we know the Mae Young Classic, that's going to be on fire and everything. But if I'm the WWE, I'm definitely going to be watching to see what's going on with that WOW promotion, also paying attention to what's happening with the other women's promotions and all that. And I think, honestly, if I were to make a bold prediction, I want to say before summer of next year, yeah, there's going to definitely be a no. Shout out to Johnny Storm. No, I'm not talking about Carol O'Connor. I'm talking about his partner. I was talking about his partner during Archie Bunker's Place. It was a Jewish guy that was in there. Trust me, I know Carol O'Connor extremely well. But everybody just Archie Bunker. You're talking to somebody that grew up on All in the Family and all that. I remember Carol O'Connor in The Heat of the Night. I remember his late adopted son being part of that show as well. It was unfortunate what had went down with the drug problems that the son had, and he ultimately had met his demise. I remember when Carol O'Connor had made his appearance on Party of Five. And believe it or not, true story, there was a deal worked out between Fox executives and Carol Connor, where they wanted him to have a recurring role on Party of Five. And for some reason, the logistics, it never did quite match up, sadly. So trust me, you're talking to somebody that knows all things Carol Connor and all that. Trust me. No, I'm talking about his partner on Archie Bunker's Place. He was a respected veteran actor. He was his partner. He had half of the bar for ownership, and he had left by the time the second season had came to a close. And after that second season of Archie Bunker's Place, it pretty much went downhill afterwards. Honestly, I think if you really break it down more, it focused more on the younger supporting cast and not so much Archie, quite honestly. So, but no, we were talking about the women's division there and all that. I'm going to make a bold prediction. I'm going to say that maybe before summer of next year, we're probably going to be seeing a women's tag division. Most likely, we're probably going to see it. Let's see. Kenny Omega, by the way, he's recently made some interesting comments that has some people kind of going, Kenny Omega, what the hell? He basically had made a comment about the New Japan roster and how they basically need to step up. I actually want to read this to you. So, as you all know, he's the new IWGP heavyweight champion. And here's basically what he had said. And I quote, but I'm serving this as a warning to all of the domestic talent in New Japan. You guys have to step up your game because right now you are not at our level. And I don't mean that as a negative comment. I want everyone to do their best. I'm just saying that we need to do the best we can and that what you're doing right now isn't enough. And apparently, as a result of him saying this, a lot of people are calling him racist. A lot of people are saying, "What the hell is he smoking? What the hell is he talking about?" When, first off, the comments that he made, first off, I don't look at that as racist in any type of manner whatsoever. So let's get that out. I don't even need to spend several minutes dissecting that. It's not racist at all. All he's basically saying is, hey, look, I've been with this promotion now. I've been working for this promotion for a good minute now. I see the pros, I see the cons, I see where this company can go when we all really work hard together and we all are focused on the same goal. We are so much more capable than what we're putting out right now. We could be better. We should be better. It's no different than a pep talk that you and I would give ourselves with our own respected professions, or if we have our own respected businesses. Like I have my own respected business. I hold myself accountable to, hey, okay, that was good, but this could be better. So for me, I don't think there was anything wrong with what he had said. New Japan Pro Wrestling is a great promotion. Make no mistake about it. It's a really great promotion. But yeah, I would admit that there are only certain guys that you look at and you go, okay, yeah, should it be a lot better roster wise, for everybody to really step their A game up? Yeah, especially if they really want to reach out there and they want to be showing up in other parts of the land more, like in the United States and just to name a few. Yeah, then everybody is going to have to work much harder. It's either you are all in or you move to the side so that the next guy can come on in there and step up. So I don't think there was anything wrong with what he had said, and anybody that is taking what he's saying out of context, it's just that you're taking what he's saying out of context. Want to give a shout out to some of our show sponsors for this edition of the RCWR show. We definitely need to make sure we show them a lot of love, because without them working with us, shows like what you're checking out right now would not be free. Shout out to Destination Vacations Travel Agency. If you need help planning your next vacation, don't have time to search for the best deals and locations, well, hit up Destinations Vacations Travel Agency, as they can help. Give them a call right now at area code 630-491-6864. That's 630-491-6864. You can also visit them on the web, destinationvacationstravel.com. The RCWR Show with Lee Sanders is also brought to you in part by MyLotteryWinningSecrets.com. Learn from a lottery winner that won the jackpot 7 consecutive times with his great tips and methods. Visit MyLotteryWinningSecrets.com. In the need of great jewelry gift ideas for him or her, check out BeckettJewelry.com. Low prices, great quality, family-owned and operated business in the United States. All products are shipped from the U.S. BeckettJewelry.com. Love more, spend less. We're also brought to you in part by Disseco Solutions. Disseco Solutions offering the best dissection kit tools for students and teachers. Non-rust stainless steel dissecting tools for instructional and training purposes. Pick up your set at a really great affordable price on Amazon.com. We got the Midwest Ecom Conference. It is happening in Minneapolis, Minnesota, the home of the Purple One, Prince. By the way, the Purple Rain album had reached a significant anniversary this week. Just want to put that in you all's ear. July 20th through the 21st, head on over to the Midwest Ecom Conference. If you're looking to become a successful eBay or Amazon seller, you're looking to work on having a better income to provide for yourself, your family, be your own boss, work when you want to, you can learn the very best from the experts with regards to e-commerce at this fun 2-day event. It is the Midwest Ecom Conference happening July 20th through the 21st. For tickets, registration, more information, head on over to midwestecom.com. Know there's a good number of you guys that are struggling with your credit score, trying to bring it up to par. Head up my friends over at nosweatedcredit.biz. That's nosweatedcredit.biz. They can delete up to 5 negative items on your credit report in as little as 5 business days. nosweatedcredit.biz. Also, you know about .ws domains? If not, you really need to do your research and get into that. That's the next biggest thing that's going down right now. You can actually work on building yourself a decent income selling .ws domains. Work when you want to and all. More information, head on over to www.getrichalso.ws. That's www.getrichalso.ws. And we got one more sponsor we want to recognize for tonight's RCWR show, a new sponsor, and that is Flex Dynamic Radio, where you can listen to different radio stations during the day. It's Flex Dynamic Radio, radio that you control. Every day, thousands of radio stations, they make beautiful programs, and you just listen to one. That is until now. With the Flex Dynamic Radio app, known as Flex Radio, you can enjoy radio and listen to a different number of stations per hour, depending on your own personal playlist. Creating your own playlist is simple. Just select any radio station anywhere in the world from their global radio database and select the days and start time. Listen to 2 or more stations per day, all up to you. Flex Dynamic Radio gives you the opportunity to enjoy streaming radio without geographical or technical boundaries. Available for your iPhone and iPad devices. Check it out in the iTunes store. Just search Flex Radio, Flex Dynamic Radio, where you can listen to different radio stations during the day. Flex Dynamic Radio. It is radio that you control. We appreciate all of these guys being sponsors for this week's RCWR show. Thank you kindly, folks. Hey, real quick, we were talking about Paige last week, and I said, leave Paige alone. Did anybody see the new photo spreads of Paige for what she was filming of this upcoming season of Total Divas? That girl is nice and filled out. Let me tell you, she's got curves, she's got some hips, she's got the breasts. She's got a new tattoo, by the way. The new tattoo, I think, is killer. It is badass. I don't know if she is heavily influenced by the new man that she's dating, as he's heavily tattooed. Every time I see hot girls and tattoos, I got that fucking Van Halen song stuck in my head. Tattoo, tattoo, show me your dragon magic. Shit. I love that song. I think I'm going to pump that song when I get off the air. So very autobiographic. Gotta hold on, me. Oh, fucking, I love Diamond Dave, man. Diamond Dave. You know, if I had to pick between Sammy and Diamond Dave, I got to go with Diamond Dave. I'm just picturing, can you just imagine Diamond Dave pulling up at a fucking drive-through, and he's like at, I don't know, let's just say Diamond Dave is at fucking McDonald's. Wow, yeah, how you doing there, little sugar? I say, I want some ice cream, man. Stop me when you, oh, yeah, little stop. Whoa, hey, how you doing there, pretty? Oh, we go, look, hey, looking so fat tonight. How do you do? Wow, yeah, whoa. I'm just picturing Diamond Dave. Diamond Dave seems like he'd be a cool motherfucker to hang out with. Seriously. But no, Paige is looking good. If Paige is fat, it is PHAT in them hips and in that behind, as far as I'm concerned. She is filling out. She is growing into her woman body. And honestly, I got no problem with how she's built. I love the fucking tattoo, though. That tattoo is sick. I remember when I was a kid going to junior high and high school, me and my best friend, Ransford, we would stop by this classic newsstand that was in Northwest DC out in Adams Morgan. It was right around the corner from this comic book store that we used to go to. And this newsstand that we would go to, they always had the latest, coolest arcade machines that you could play pinball games as well. And I remember we used to always go over to the comic book racks and all that. And he would just be lost for like a couple of hours just reading comic books, because his whole deal would be, why do I need to buy a comic book? I can just come here, I can read, I don't need to pay, and they won't bother me. But once in a blue moon, there would be comics that he would buy. So usually I'd be waiting on him. I already knew the comics I wanted to buy. I basically would just be waiting on him. But as I was waiting on him, I basically would go look at any and every other thing that wasn't a comic. And I was always looking at the tattoo magazines. I don't know the names offhand. I mean, if they were around in the 90s and they're still around today, if I heard the name, I would probably be able to say, yeah, that's one. But I've always had a strong fascination for ink, tattoos and all that. Just wicked designs. And I love what's going on with Paige's tattoo. Now, my question is where it's placed, which I think is very convenient. Is she going to be doing this in a way where it's going to connect to other parts of her body? Like, is it going to eventually wrap around into her back and the shoulder blades and connect to the arms? I mean, I just think that would be pretty badass if she was going to take it that far. Curious minds want to know. And I hear that once again, there is going to be a freaking Led Zeppelin reunion. I'm going to tell this to you guys, and then we're pretty much going to be out of here. So apparently, I'm trying to see if I can pull up the article real quick. And bear with me a second here, guys. I'm trying to see if because I saw this, I said, nah, that's a load of bullshit. It can't be. And I don't have the article now. So apparently there's like this rumbling that next year there's supposedly going to be a Led Zeppelin reunion. And I'm hearing this, I'm going, wait a minute, something doesn't quite sound right. This sounds kind of bullshit. Yeah, they're heavily favored to be headlining 2019's Glastonbury Festival. And there's like a lot of media outlets that are reporting this. And like when you look at the odds favorites, they are really coming out on top. There's also rumblings that maybe it's also going to be Fleetwood Mac. Fleetwood Mac is currently sitting at 3-1. So you're going, wait a minute, wait, what? Like, how the hell did? And basically, what has a lot of people speculating is the fact that Jimmy Page has spent all of these years remastering all of the Led Zeppelin albums, and everything has pretty much culminated with what's the last thing that was remastered by Jimmy Page? It's a Led Zeppelin concert. I think the song that remains the same, maybe it's that. I could be wrong. That's getting remastered. So everybody's going, oh, well, maybe. But as long as I have been following the career of Robert Plant, I have all of his solo albums, all of them, even his live stuff. It ain't happening. It just is not happening. And I like how people just want to keep holding on to this little thing called hope. But if you want to see Led Zeppelin at this point, hear some Led Zeppelin songs, you're going to have to come up out of your pocket, and you're going to have to see Robert Plant on tour with his backing band. That's it, plain and simple. I just hate that we keep getting these rumors over and over and over again. But it's been keeping. Look, let me tell you something. Robert Plant, Jimmy Page, John Paul Jones, they all could be in fucking wheelchairs within like the next 3 years. People are still gonna be clamoring for a goddamn Led Zeppelin reunion. I don't know what it is, guys. I really don't know what it is, but it's funny. It really is. Other than that, that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to get into on this week. There's a couple more things I wanted to get into, but I'm going to save some of that. So to recap for you guys, I'm going to be doing something really cool. So Wednesday night is going to be very interesting. You guys will be getting two completely different experiences. So for our Patreon members, exclusively, you guys are going to be getting my review of the second season of Luke Cage. That's going to be on patreon.com/RCWR Show. So check that out. Meanwhile, what will be available on demand and on the RSS feeds tomorrow night, because you notice we didn't talk about it, and it's for a very good reason. I want to give that its own standalone. WWE UK. We're going to talk about that. That's going to be a special RCWR show. That's going to drop just for on demand, on the download. It's going to be on iTunes, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts, on demand and on the downloads. That'll be released tomorrow night. So you'll have that as well. So that'll be some good content right there. And then, like I said, probably by the weekend, I'll have the Luke Cage become free for everybody to check out. I'm going to try to see if I can squeeze in one more wrestling with the topics before the month of June is out. I'll have to see how the schedule's looking with the misses. By the way, in case you guys didn't see, check it out all throughout the social media pages, even on the YouTube channel. You can see the new logo for Wrestling with the Topics. It's got me and Tammy on it. And shout out to my good longtime buddy, Andy Rocketeer. If you guys need some phenomenal artwork done of any type, it doesn't just have to be promotional. Maybe you just want to surprise your significant other, your kid, or whatnot, Andy does some really good, superb work. Just do a Bing Google search, Andy Rocketeer, kind of like Rocketeer, the movie from way back when. And it's very easy to touch base with him. Great guy, been very kind to the show over the years. Some of the artwork, logos, and all that you see, he's been the brainchild behind it. If anything, I've maybe worked on some thumbnail design since I know how to draw myself, and I basically say, hey man, here's what's in my head, here's what the fuck I'm thinking. And me and Andy are like, you know, we work really good together, bouncing ideas off of each other. So check him out, good stuff. Speaking of drawing, I don't know if you guys saw it on Facebook, but pretty soon I'm gonna like remix it and upload it here on YouTube. But I've got some really cool drawings. I finally started getting back into drawing again, and I began a series on Triple H. And right when I was about to wrap up drawing Triple H, I got hit with the health problems and all that. So I've been kind of finding my way back to, okay, I'm good now. Let me try to get in a little bit of drawing. So pretty soon I'm going to be editing, putting some music, maybe some audio commentary. We're going to upload that on YouTube as well. That'll be kind of something cool for you guys to check out as well. Really great stuff. But in the meantime, you can see, you get it jumpstart right now. You can see some of the stuff over on the Facebook page. You don't need to have a Facebook account. You can just log in, or actually you can visit facebook.com/the RCWR Show, and you'll be able to just see it that way. Just click on videos, and I think you might be able to pull it up that way, right? Shout out to Gino. Shout out to Mark. I'm doing good, man. Doing good. And before I go off the air, let me just do one thing. Because I kept saying the Jewish guy, the Jewish guy, the Jewish guy. The Jewish guy that I'm thinking of that was co-host with Carol O'Connor, Martin Balsam. Martin Balsam. Very good veteran actor. He pretty much was involved in a lot of things. I mean, you probably remember him from 1,000 Crowns, 12 Angry Men, my personal favorite, one of my all-time favorite movies. He was also in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, a veteran actor. I remember he was in a movie starring Charles Bronson, not Death Wish, but it kind of seemed like Death Wish. I can't quite picture the name of the movie right now, but he played a crime boss. And I remember Charles Bronson's character was eventually trying to figure out a way to take him down. He was a really damn good veteran actor. Did a lot of stuff. You may not know the name, but as soon as you see the face, you would recognize the guy. What else? So we told you about the Patreon, all the other. Yeah, I think that's it. Shout out to Gino. Shout out to Mark. Shout out to Clubber. Shout out to Nathan. Shout out to Brandon. You know, Brandon's just being cute in the chat here. You guys are funny. Shout out to everybody that's checking out the show live. Shout out to those of you that will be checking this out on demand and on the downloads. Remember, man, word of mouth, spread the word, really helps out. Thumbs up, likes, shares, retweets, all that good stuff. Those of you waiting for the audio version, give me about 25, maybe 30 minutes at most. Just gotta slap the intro and all that, and we should be good to go. Your next edition of the RCWR Show, like I said, we'll be doing the WWE UK joint. That'll be available on demand on the downloads Wednesday night. I'm thinking sometime a little bit after 9 p.m. So maybe around 9:30 p.m. it should be up for you guys to check out. But other than that, your next edition of the RCWR Show will come at you guys on Tuesday night. What is that? That looks like Tuesday night, July the 3rd. So we'll actually be coming on the day before the Independence holiday. So that should be pretty good. I'm actually going to be on the air. So make sure you represent and tune in. Till next go round, please be safe and be kind to one another. I will see you guys next go round. Y'all take care. A very good night. Good morning.